with her death there. It hurt her family. They told me, they said, you know, we wouldn't sue him. I mean, it was an accident. But the fact that he never even said he was sorry, they got attorneys and they sued him, and he had medical insurance. But anyway, now you can kind of see what the coroner ought to be able to do. You asked me what qualifications you had to be coroner. How could you do that if you don't understand something about medicine and medical terminology? I've been an emergency medical technician at one time. That helped me. I always loved biology and chemistry and those sciences, and I have spent a lot of my life reading and studying various medical things. Like this week, a friend of mine came to me. He said, I've got these papers, I don't understand. He said, they tell me I need heart surgery. And it said that he had the mitral valve and the tricuspid valve, both were regurgitating. Now, you know what that means? They're leaking backflow. One of them was moderate, one was severe. Well, computers, you guys are 10 times as good at using it as I am, because you started, how old were you when you started using a computer? I didn't even know how to turn on a computer until about a decade ago, you know. Now I don't know how I could live without one, but there are people who still are my age are trying to get through life without ever learning. I decided 10 or 15 years ago I need to learn how to speak Spanish and use a computer. And when I went to Spain, I got in a taxi cab with a guy who couldn't speak a word of English, and he got me where I wanted to go. So you have to keep striving to learn more. And this man came to me, and he didn't understand what was wrong with him. So I just went into the computer and found Mount Sinai Medical College, where this great cardiovascular surgeon has pioneered the development of a ring that you can put around the annulus of the valve to tighten it up. And instead of and they've done a lot of studies that determine that replacing a valve is not nearly as successful as repairing a valve in most cases. The statistics are overwhelming. So he then said, well, I'm supposed to be operated on Thursday. This is this week, day after tomorrow. And he said, I'm supposed to be there at the doctor at 9 something in the morning. He's going to operate on my heart, and I don't know what he's going to do. I said, well, who's the doctor? And he said, well, it's Dr. Burke. I said, well, I know Dr. Burke. So I called Dr. Burke yesterday and talked with him. He said, I've never even seen him. He said, the cardiologist just did the, he did the heart catheterization last week and diagnosed what's wrong with him. First he came to me with a piece of paper, said he needed to have a transesophageal echocardiogram. Well, he didn't have any idea what any of that meant. Can you tell me what a transesophageal echocardiogram probably would be? I mean, you probably can pick those words apart. Tell me, right?
Something with this.
Who knows? Trans means what? Esophageal. Yeah. So that means instead of trying to look through bones and cartilage, they're going to drop this instrument down his esophagus, and they can look through the soft tissue of his esophagus and his heart and do an echo. What does that mean? Sound waves, right? Echo, like a cardiogram. You know what that is? Cardi means heart. Gram means to graph the motion of the heart. So just by knowing medical terminology would be a big help to every coroner in the state. Call them up and find out how many of them know any of that. I mean, it's scary. There should be more qualifications. Is what I'm agreeing with what you're thinking. I believe is that there should be a lot more qualifications. And in some of the smaller counties, they can't find a doctor that will be a coroner. So they end up having the only choice they have is the only person that wants to have anything to do with a dead body is a funeral director. So, it can be a conflict of interest. Every county where a coroner is a funeral director, the other funeral directors always tell me that they don't like it because they try to maneuver to get the bodies from them, to keep them from getting the body. But about 25 years ago, I had a call from a nearby coroner who was a funeral director, and he said they're trying to pass a law, making against law for a coroner to be a funeral director. Well, at that time, out of 46 counties, I think there were at least 18 of them were funeral directors. And I started looking into it, and I realized that there was nobody else in some of those counties that were really any better qualified to be the coroner than these guys. Some of them had a lot of experience, so, you know, that's worth something too. So I went before the Medical Affairs Committee at the State House up there, and I stopped the bill for the time being. But I still think that it would be much better to have somebody with a medical background, very well trained in every county, and a lot more educational requirements. I was president of the State Coroner Association 7 times, and I believe since I left that they are not even enforcing the requirements that were passed by law. I think they're actually violating the law when it comes to requiring coroners to have so many hours of education annually. They after I was no longer involved, they even made a rule that they added to the rules about education, that if they attended autopsies, the hours they were in the autopsy room would count as education. Well, that's just an easy way out. I mean, that's part of the job anyway. Well, let me tell you one more interesting story. You might think of some more, but I have a while. I know you probably have some more questions, but years ago, a car sped into the the driveway behind Richmond Hospital, and a man got a woman out in his arms and went over and put her down somewhere right by the door of the hospital. And she was unconscious, and they ran out there and rushed her in there and worked on her, and she died, and they called me, and the body was sent down to the morgue, and I called the pathologist to meet me down there, and when we went, and the doctors in the ER, they thought that she had been shot with 2 different caliber weapons. One they thought was a large caliber and one a small caliber. She had, the bones in her left arm were broken, and she had a hole in her side, and she had a couple of holes in her leg and the thigh that were little small ones, and they looked like they thought that she'd been shot there with like a small caliber 22 or something, but they knew something big had hit her here. They didn't know anything about it. They didn't know who she was, what had happened to her, anything. Well, in the process of doing an autopsy, we were able to determine that she was, one bullet did all that. It was a 9mm copper-jacketed bullet, and when it hit her arm, the bones caused the copper to come off in little pieces. I mean, some of it, one big piece hit her, but the little pieces went into her thigh. You put probes in these wounds and tell the direction they were traveling, and they were moving that way. But this went in her arm. Well, by looking at the stippling of the gunpowder embedded in her skin and how far it spread, the pattern of it, we could tell how far away the weapon was when it was fired. In other words, whoever fired that weapon was close to her, not in contact with her, not too far away. It embedded a lot of gunpowder into her skin. We were able to reposition her body so that we knew that her left hand was back like this, and her leg was pulled up. She was lying on the floor or on something, pulling up her legs and doing like that. Someone was standing over her about 2 feet away and fired. And so we knew she was in a defensive position. She did not have that weapon in her hand. I mean, and when her boyfriend was found, his story was that it was her gun, and we confirmed it was her gun. She slept with that gun under her pillow, and they had been out drinking, and he took her home intoxicated, and he went back out, and that made her mad because she thought he was going out to meet somebody else. So when he came home, she was still very intoxicated, he said, and she had the gun, and he said in the process of giving it away from her, it went off and shot her. Well, we know he had control of the gun. He was 2 feet away at the time of the fire. So